Good morning and welcome to our latest Ascarii presentation on SAP Business One based solutions and how they can help a variety of style of businesses really take advantage of the latest markets and how things have changed during COVID and really taking on a digitalization program to help your business grow. And there is a lot of things to talk about today, but a very brief presentation. A little bit about Ascarii and who we are. So from a perspective of how long we've been going, we've been established since 2013. We were a gold partner of SAP Business One within 6 months of trading. And we also have another side of the business called Cloud for Partners. So one thing I do want to stress today that I think is really important is that I don't think that actually choosing software is as important as choosing the partner you choose to work with. And that's because a lot of ERP systems out there now can do a lot of similar things. Plainly, there's some advantages to some over others, but it's really about the partner and developing that relationship and finding someone who actually cares about you as a customer and wants to deliver something that helps you as a business. So that's who we are. Our existing customers, your peers who use our solutions already will back that up. But with regards to what we get involved with, predominantly, most of our customers utilize our purpose-built cloud platform for SAP Business One. And the reason people want cloud is that it keeps growing in people's minds that they don't want the headache of having to look after IT anymore. And also security, compliance, all of those good things. If you start expanding as a business and start trading abroad or even open an office abroad, it's a headache. IT has always been a headache. And with regards to putting it into the cloud, we partner with AWS, who are the biggest cloud provider in the world. And it works. It's as simple as that. It's the great thing about AWS is that they are forever innovating. And that's a really great way of knowing that you're always ahead of the curve and you're not following other people. You're part of the team that's leading. So there are compelling total cost of ownership discussions around on-premise and cloud. And when you compare them like for like, cloud is actually not as expensive as people seem to think it was, because a lot of people forget about all the hidden costs of on-premise and what happens if a system goes down. So there's a lot of what-if scenarios in there too. But when you do compare them like for like, cloud typically wins. We don't mind whether you want to be on-premise. If you want to be, we do have customers who are on-premise. However, the vast majority of our clients, new clients, people that are transferred to us and so on, they are looking if they haven't already moved to our cloud platform. And one of the benefits of that is as today, when we go into the actual SAP Business One system itself in a few minutes, you'll see that there are actually two database structures available for SAP Business One. And one is Microsoft SQL, which you may have all heard of, and it's been out for a long time. And another one is SAP's own database called HANA, which stands for High-End Analytics. Now, the difference is that HANA is an in-memory database. So instead of installing your data on a hard drive, it's actually installed and held in memory on your server. So for an example, for an on-premise server, we typically always look at something for at least 3 years. But if you're looking at an on-premise server, you've got to cope with and cater for not only what you need now in the first year, but what you might need in the third year. So you could be spending too much on infrastructure that you're not using yet. And this is one of the benefits of cloud. So you could start off year one with what you need. As you grow into year two, it grows a little. And it goes into year three, then it actually shows here that it's starting to use the full power of it, but you're growing. So you're not spending all that money up front for no reason. That's a good example of how a consumption-based design is really useful for a growing business. It's very flexible, very scalable. The way we structure our cloud platform is unlike most others in the fact that historically people will install databases, applications, and let people log into the same server. Now, if you know anything about databases, they are memory hungry and resource hungry. So they steal all the resources, even if they don't need it, which is why systems slow down. What we've done with our purpose-built cloud platform is we've built it so we have a database server, we have a software application server where all your software products are installed, and we have application servers that people log into to access that data. That means we can share the load. So without spending a fortune on big beefy servers in all three, we find that we can have much smaller, more affordable solutions that complement each other, and your database is not stealing the resource away from the applications or from the people logging in. That's key. And this is really scalable. So, as you grow or shrink, we can amend these things so you can change. You're not stuck with what you've got. And that's the beauty of cloud. It's the flexibility. It's very predictable and flexible on billing as well. So typically we normally work on a 3-year contract on cloud, and it's billed quarterly in advance. That's it. So you know what to budget for, you know how to afford it. You can choose to purchase the software still if you want to, whether you're on premise or in cloud. But primarily, I would say about 60 to 70% of clients now do not want to buy the software anymore. They'd rather rent it because it gives them that flexibility. And a good example of that is one of our larger implementations last year had a 3-year new renewal for their cloud contract with us. And because of COVID, they downgraded their 76 license SAP system to a 66 license temporarily while we get through COVID. And then after that, they can upgrade it again. That's that flexibility I was talking about before. It's also very secure. And this is one of the key reasons why people want to move to cloud, is that AWS is tier 4, which is the highest level cloud security you can get. And governments and military forces use this, banks, those sorts of people. And the great thing is it's far more secure than anything you can ever hold in your locked office. It just is. It's impossible pretty much to break into one of these, fully security guarded, dogs, bunkers, all sorts of things. You're not even allowed to visit these sites anymore. So it's incredibly secure. And along with that goes things like compliance. So because AWS is a global business, and it has even things like a tunnel through the firewall in China, it can comply with all the regulations that are required around the world. That's a beauty. And from our perspective at Ascarii, we've got data centers already in the States that we use, in Ireland, in Germany, and we are about to open, as you can see on here, a further one over here, either in India or further in the South East Asia. And anything in gold here, you can see these are the countries we're already dealing with. So we are already a global business dealing with customers in all of these regions. So should you be a business that isn't just UK focused, we can still help you. So that's as much as I wanted to show you with regards to a presentation today. And what I want to do now is just go straight into SAP Business One and give you an overview and talk about what the art of the possible is. And whilst we're looking at SAP Business One here today, this isn't the end-all solution, because this is only the start. It's the center, it's the fulcrum of your the centerpiece of your business-wide solution. So if you're in manufacturing, we also have manufacturing add-ons where we can deal with bill of material creation, we can deal with shop floor data collection, we can deal with quality control. We have WMS systems, either full-blown, all guns blazing with every single facility you'd ever need, or simpler warehouse management solutions, where it can work with simple iPhone type things plugged into a scanning device, and you can start doing goods in, goods out, have a trolley system for moving goods, very simple scenario-based warehouse management solutions. But it doesn't stop there. We've got, just from a financial point of view, we've got things that can automate invoices and actually taking email invoices and pushing them into Business One through security checks. We can take sales orders from an email account and process those and automatically push them through into SAP Business One, subject to checks and whistles. So you've got a lot of automation that we can bring to this platform, and it's all about us spending time with you and understanding what are key drivers for you, what you're looking to achieve, what you need now, and just as importantly, what you need in the future. Because phasing things in like this is a great way of actually taking advantage of these types of solutions extremely quickly, but without overstepping the mark and taking on too much in too quick a time. So with regards to SAP Business One, let me take you through this. So I'm currently logged on to a demonstration system called OEC Computers Limited. Out of the box, SAP Business One is a multi-company solution. It's multi-lingual, so there's numerous languages in here as well, because it is a global solution. There are approaching 80,000 separate businesses now using SAP Business One solutions around the world, and they are also it's progressively used by a lot of large corporate businesses, where they use it for their smaller subsidiaries that they start up, because it does talk to big SAP as well. And I will spend a bit of time here explaining. Business One is designed for SMEs. It's priced for SMEs, it's affordable for SMEs. So it's not big SAP, it doesn't take years, it doesn't cost millions. It's the complete polar opposite. And a lot of people don't realize 80% of SAP's global customer base are SMEs. So people like yourselves, people like Ascarii, we are SMEs, and this is perfectly built for that market space. So, but if you do work with a supplier or a customer who has big SAP, you can get the systems to actually trade data with each other, which is a nice feature to have. So I'm currently logged on, as I say, with into the demo system, but it's straight away for me, I'm a super user. So it's come up with a screen of what SAP call widgets on here. And you can see they've got various things in red, in green, and it's designed to be color coordinated. So anything in green is recognizable as good, anything in red is bad, anything with an arrow going up means that figure is going up, anything with down, and likewise. But we're also things like my recent updates. We can look at receivables, payables. I'm currently looking at something that's more akin to someone from a financial background. So as I scroll down, you can see there's a financial process that I'm looking at. And this is a great way of getting to use the system without having to know where everything is. That's always the hardest part when you take on board a new business solution, such as in the SAP Business One ERP system, is remembering where in the menu structure, if you go into the menu here on the left, where everything is. Because as soon as you click on one particular item, it opens up a heck of a lot of other things. So a great way is using these process maps. So if I'm in finance, I can click on vouchers, I can put in a journal, I can enter a reconciliation, I can do a period end closing, I can run financial reports. And anything with a blue drop down gives you more features. So I can go into the general ledger, I can go to document journals, and if I'm in payments, I can look at customer receivables and aging debt, and so on. So anything affiliated to those icons is there. And there's not only a financial process, there's one for stock, there's one for sales, there's one for purchasing. So these aren't fixed either. So you can create what you want these widgets to be. And that's one of the nice things that Ascarii does, is that we teach you how to do this. So you're not wholly reliant on us to do everything. You can learn this if you have the desire to do so. If you don't, that's fine. We have our support team that can help you and take you on that path in the future if you want to change things as well. But as well as these standard widgets, we also have things like common functions. So these are items out of that menu structure on the left, which I'll go into more detail in a little while, where I can go straight into things like the chart of accounts. And when I click on chart of accounts, there it goes. This is the standard one that comes with SAP Business One. But as I'm no doubt many of you are coming from the likes of Xero or Sage or QuickBooks or something in that way, you may not want this structure, you might want to tweak it. So you can. This is not fixed in stone. This is just a good starting point if you don't know what you want. And this again is all backed up with things like filing cabinets, so it's nice and easy. Currently we're looking at assets. If I click on the filing cabinet for liabilities, up they come, and so on. Turnover, cost of sales. There are dimensions in here as well. So if you want to do some real complicated, or not necessarily complicated, but more comprehensive statistical analysis of financials, we can help you set up the system in that way. And you can also, as you can see here, add on more filing cabinets. And you can see here that number 9, number 10, they're just blank. But just to give you examples that you can add on new ones if you wish to. So the chart of accounts is really good. I will stress SAP Business One is fully accredited by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales. if you ever have the fortune or misfortune to go to any of their meetings, there will be an SAP Business One stand there from SAP. It's all accredited. Many accountants are now taking SAP Business One on as something that they support as well. But this is, as I say, looking at a financial angle. If I go into the menu here and actually say, right, actually, I work in sales, so I want to look at and notice it's public, so it's available. I'll click on OK, and this time it's actually going to show me something more relevant for a salesperson in an organization. So straight away we can see sales amounts, we can see what's received, we can see what profit we're making, we can see a sales process this time, and the blue buttons this time are showing something completely different to what the finance person saw. And the widgets are pretty much what you want them to be. We can also go in, I'll come out of that and just show you the stock one, because the purchasing one is exactly the same as sales, but from the other angle. But it's always quite useful seeing the stock one as well for inventory. Because when we're dealing with distribution, I would say about a third of Ascarii's customers are out and out distribution businesses, and about a third of them are manufacturing businesses. And the other third are a mix of different things. So we've got people in security and cleaning, contracts businesses. We've got people who are out and out finance houses. So we've got the finance house of a global solar panel farm business. We've got asset management businesses using it purely for finances. So we do have a wide range of customers. Fundamentally, the financials at the core, but then you can explore into different realms. So this is agnostic to what industry you're in and what sector. It just has the capability of filling into what you specifically need, especially when we talk about some of the add-ons that we can put into this to enhance what you have. So straight away, when I'm looking at stock management, we've got now, we can take in goods, receipt, POs, returns, we can look at the various warehouses. It's worth stressing, Business One is really good with stock. So it understands the concept of multiple warehouses. It understands various units of measure and costing methods. It also understands has the capability of having virtual warehouses. So even if you've got the one location, SAP can be split into virtual ones. So you could have a quality control area where stock in that element, while going through checks, is not available to salespeople to sell, as an example. So, you've got a lot of control there. And it also understands and has full concept of batch control. It also understands serial tracked items, and you can have products that you buy in and ship on. You can have products that you buy in and then kit into something else, and you can manufacture what you like and do with what you want there as well. So it understands all of these concepts. The only thing, it understands barcodes as well. The only thing it doesn't come with is the actual barcode readers, the scanners, which is why when I touched on it before, we have WMS systems that work out of the box with SAP Business One, because that's what they were designed to do. If that's something that you require, we're covered. We can help you. So straight away, we've just got a different view of the world, and this time we're dealing with stock management. So if I click on any one of these, if I click on the warehouses, you can go in setting up warehouses. If I'll go into a little bit more on stock when we go through the menu structure on the left-hand side. But that's the sort of power you have of changing how each user's view of the world in SAP Business One can be unique to their job function. So really useful for making sure that things don't get missed, because you can actually have things like these graphs and charts that are updating constantly. And if something's amiss, you can spot it. But what we also have in here is it's got full alerts. So if something dramatic happens in the business, that can trigger an alert, which can then be emailed, sent a text, those sorts of things directly to decision makers in the business to make a decision upon it. Really nice feature to have. So straight away, if I wanted to change the structure or what's on this screen, if I click on the pencil here, you can see I can move things around. So I'll move that over here. I prefer it there, my recent updates. I can also go into plus, and this is where you can see there's around 50 widgets that come standard with Business One out of the box. But as I said before, you can create your own. So anything that's ticked, you can see is going to be shown on screen. And as you can see, there's a variety of different types in here, including the finance sales, purchasing, and stock control processes maps that we talked about. You know, so it really is quite intensive in what you can actually display. But it's great if you've got someone who works in finance, make their screen all about finance. If you've got someone who's in finance and does a bit around sales management, maybe they're, you know, a hybrid role, you can make the screen a hybrid role view. That's the power you have. So I'm going to come out of the widget gallery. I've moved that top one to the left. I'll click and update my cockpit. You can see my recent updates has moved from here to over here. So as a user, I have that flexibility to do so. You can either give users their ability to create their own screen layout, or you can set it and take that ability to change it away from them. And that's one of the nice features again in Business One, is you control who has what power to do what they can in the system. And that can be down to field level. So you can even remove things from screens for certain users. So, you know, I've had experience in the past dealing with some organizations where they don't want their sales team to see something that's coming into stock until they've released it. It doesn't appear to the sales team, whereas it does appear to people who work with stock control, so they know it's coming. So it's very much a case of you set the rules and we help you define what those rules are, and then we build that system with you for you to test and then help you go live with. So that's the sort of thing we do. We also have in here, because this is SAP HANA database with the in-memory, if I click on the search bar here, this loads up the enterprise search tool. So a good example of this would be, I have an employee called Bill who no longer works for us, but he dealt with a number of customers over the past few months. And this executive search here, enterprise search, is effectively a Google engine of your whole database. So it's found that Bill is now in 3 master data records, one under business partner. Business partner in SAP terms is either a customer, a supplier, or a lead that can be converted to a customer. He's in the chart of accounts, probably under salaries. He's in the employee master data, but he was involved in 528 transactions. So if someone called up about a return, in this case, there's only one. So if I click on the return, it shows me instantly the return that Bill was involved with and what products were returned. Really powerful, really good, especially if you're dealing with customers or suppliers on the phone. You can find things instantly while you're talking to them without having to go into the menu structure, find the right part of SAP Business One and find it. And that's really powerful. It's really well liked. If we even type in something as simple as the number 1, this time it's going to search for every time the number 1 has appeared in my demonstration database. It'll take a second or two longer because there's a heck of a lot more. So as you can see, it's in analytic content 87 times. It's in 633 master datas, over 5,000 transactions. If I click on a dashboard, it shows me the various dashboards that one appears in, and so on. So the better the detail you have to search for, the smaller the search criteria will be and the results will be. But you can see even on a broad term like this, it's finding it everywhere. And that's really powerful. I know your peers like this. It's really powerful. And what we also have as well, and I'll show you a little later when we finish off, is a web client. So if you're having people who are working on a sales basis, because that's currently where it works, you can actually now access SAP Business One directly from a web page. Really powerful. It has some nice new features, and I'll show you that in a little while. There are things in here as well, things like well, as you can see, messages and alerts, work list messages, but things like, because it's HANA and the database is in memory, we've got things like cash flow forecasting. So granted, this is only demonstration data, so it normally would have a normal graph in here for you, but you can set the criteria of which dates you're looking at, and it will update the graph. You can actually see anything with a golden arrow in any part of SAP Business One is a drill down. So in this case, it's looking at AR invoices. There's 4 of them. If I click on that arrow, it shows me those 4. If I click on one of those, it loads that invoice. So, you know, it's that quick. If it's that custom Maxitech, if I click on that arrow, it goes to Maxitech. So there's a lot of drill down capability. And while we're here at Master Data Records, this is a good example of a really powerful screen. So I'm looking at a British customer Maxitech. They're in the construction industry. They work with British pounds. There's their VAT number. It would normally say VAT number, but I've currently got my system set up on the US version. Goodness knows why, but we have. So we've got general information on them. We've got contact people. We've got a variety of contact people. So you can have multiple people per account. You've got multiple addresses, so bill and ship to, of which there's no limit. There's payment terms. So in here, you can see that we can set up a lot of information relevant to how they pay you and what their credit limits are and so on. The payment run, which bank, so we can link to the bank accounts, and you can do your automatic banking as you need. The accounting details, which ledgers they're in the general ledger or nominal ledger, whichever you prefer, whichever term it links with. Properties and remarks is exactly that. So you can actually see, and you can create whatever you like in here and just tick them off. And remarks is a mini word processor on this particular customer. And attachments would be anything they've sent you or you've sent them. Quotes, proposals, technical drawings, absolutely anything. And they can be attached relevant to this client. But what we also have on here are further drill downs into the account balance, deliveries, orders, opportunities, and so on. And the care pack and care pack value on here do not exist in SAP Business One. We've created those with something called the Boyum B1 usability package, which we always provide with SAP Business One. This means that you can configure the solution to include things that don't exist in Business One as standard without bespoking the solution at all. And that's one of the key things that Ascarii does for our customers. We partner with only globally recognized and supported partners of SAP Business One. Boyum are one of those key partners, and they're huge in the SAP Business One world. So they've got the likes of B1 usability package that allows us to create things like fields on the fly, can remove tabs, can set people's criteria individually. So you can say, well, that person has to fill in that field before they go any further, just so you're getting consistent and correct data as you progress using the system. They also have things like print and delivery. So depending on who the client is, so Maxitech, we could set up so every time they place an order, the system automatically sends them order confirmation with details of what it is, with the pricing, and it's emailed to them. That's the sort of thing we can do there as well. So what we can also do, as you can see, there's a button down here saying you can also. Down here, we can view service calls, activities, opportunities, because SAP Business One does contain a CRM engine and also service management, and dealing with the likes of service engineers if you have them. We can look at recurring transactions in financials, any blanket agreements. The concept of sales blanket agreements or purchasing agreements is built into Business One. So if you go to one of your suppliers and say, I'm going to buy 100 of these items from you over this year, you set up a blanket agreement for that purchase of 100 units, and you call off that as you go. Sales is the other way around. There are service contracts that you can have in there, but you can also create these things too. So that's really powerful in the way that you don't have to, again, go into the menu structure. SAP Business One is full of shortcuts to make your life easier as a user. And also things like Customer 360 is a great way. This is something called pervasive analytics, and it's a way of setting up dashboards and KPIs for customers or suppliers, or just general reporting as you want and see fit. But what you have on here is the ability, so with the Customer 360, you can see Maxitech, it's got their account code, their contact details, their sales amount and profit. All looks good so far. Sales is all looking good, except we've got a lot of open quotations. Order fulfillment is okay, but the receivables, because this is a demonstration system, they owe us a fortune because we never get any payments. So it's just color coordinated to actually drive decision making. And that's a great idea. Customer 360 is something that a lot of our users will use when discussing relevant customers in a board meeting, for example. So you can talk about problem sites or good sites where you're looking to actually explore and do more with them as a partner to them. So that's the Business Partner Master Records. This cash flow forecasting, as we go back to it, you can see on here as well, we can also configure it. So we can say what we're measuring, we can say what criteria we're considering, and we can also say what certainty levels. So for cash, incoming, outgoing, and cash accounts are key. So they are going to be certain. They're the most certain. So they're certainty level 1. Whereas sales orders and purchase orders may not be as certain, but you can pick these up and drop them into whatever certainty level you want, which will affect your cash flow forecast. And notice that once you've done your forecast, you can still export to Excel. The one thing we've always realized is that you're never going to take Excel out of a finance department's kit bag, ever. So what SAP have done cleverly is that SAP Business One is fully, well, it works completely with Microsoft 365. So that's Word, that's Excel. And if you want to explore further, there is an add-on where you can actually gain and access data whilst using Outlook. So, you know, it's, but using the likes of Buoyant Print and Delivery, any email that's generated through SAP Business One will automatically be sent through Outlook as well. So, you know, we have all of these tools in our kit bag to deliver that solution for you. But as I say, if I go into the menu structure this time, there is an awful lot to this in here. So some bits will be relevant to you. If you're a manufacturer, you'd want resources, you'll want production, you'll want MRP. If you're distribution, you'll just want stock control and MRP. If you don't deal with stock and you're a services-based business, you'll switch all of these off. Really easy to do. As I say, I'm a super user currently on my system, but I just switch on and off the parts of the system I don't want to see. When I update that, it changes my menu structure and suddenly it's a lot smaller. So you're not giving too much information to users. You're not bombarding them with things they're not going to use. You just switch on the bits that are relevant. Now I'll switch them all back on for now because I just want to touch on what's in there. So straight away, if I go into something like administration, this is where you will see that it's multi-company. So you can have as many linked companies working in here together as you wish. I think the largest one we have is a company that are running 50 companies on SAP Business One, but they've only bought the licenses for 8 users. So they just choose which company they're working with and they work in that and then log out of that and log into the next one when they want to use it. Now, when you're using multiple companies, there is the option then to say, well, do you need to do any intercompany trading? If you're doing intercompany trading, do you need to consolidate to a higher company to do your tax reporting? These are the things that we explore with you. And that's where our expertise comes in, because this is what we do. And that's why we've got both financial, manufacturing, distribution type experts as consultants. And Ascarii just don't employ juniors. So people have either come up through the ranks through SAP learning and working with SAP solutions for many years, or they've come from business, from your side of the fence, and have actually been responsible for installing and implementing SAP Business One from a customer's point of view and supporting it internally. And they've now made the jump to come and work for Ascarii. So very much like a poacher turned gamekeeper. And that's really useful because they understand your side of the story as well. And that's quite a bit of empathy they can give to you. So in there, we can choose the company. We can set up the different exchange rates. We can set up the system initialization. So we set up the different details for the company, general settings, posting periods, opening balances, email details, and so on. And as it goes on here, this is something, administration is something that most users do not see. Then we don't want them to see. So you'd typically have 1 or 2 super users. You'd have Ascarii backing you up on that, and normal users of the system don't even see this. So that's administration taken out of their financials. Everything you'd want from a financial system is in here. It's incredibly robust. It's a rock solid set of financials. SAP Business One has been around in the UK since 2003. So it's been out for a long time. We're currently on version 10 of the software with a roadmap that's already published into the 2030s. It's not going anywhere. So SAP realized this is the quickest route to winning new customers. And as much as I'm sure they'd love to sell more big SAPs to Coca-Colas of this world, there's only so many customers of that size. So people like yourselves like Ascarii, because we use SAP Business One internally ourselves. We eat our own dog food. It's easier to win us as a customer and help us grow. And some of us will become medium-sized enterprises and then ultimately grow into large enterprises. Some will stay at small. Some people are a lifestyle business. It still works really well on that basis. And because SAP are the global leaders in the ERP world, is no bad thing having SAP as a brand associated with your company. So if any of you are company owners who are ultimately at some point looking to sell the business, having something as structured and well regarded as SAP Business One in the business is only going to help the value of your business when it comes to selling it. But so financials is completely covered. As you'll see, there is even a fixed asset register in here already, so you can set your depreciation rules. If you have a lot of fixed assets, if you have a lot of plant or equipment or cars and those sorts of things, you can put them all in here. It will calculate all of this automatically for you. You're not having to do it manually. And that's the lovely thing about the system, is that once it's set up and once the checks are in there and you can have stop-go checks at any point in the system, you can let the system automate as much of it as you want to, while you concentrate on building the business, developing the business, gaining new customers, looking after your existing customers. Having more time to do that is really important. Doing the same thing 2, 3, sometimes even 4 or 5 times throughout a business with different people is such a waste of resource when they could be doing something far more constructive. So that's financials covered. There is CRM, as I say, so you can set up your business partner master data, as we looked at before with a business partner record like Maxitech, as we looked at. You can set up activities, you can set up campaigns and opportunities, you can create quotes, you can look at the customer 360 as we did earlier on as well. Really is a good introduction to CRM. If, however, you are already using a really good CRM system like HubSpot or Salesforce, we use a piece of middleware called BPA, and we've integrated already SAP Business One to those really powerful CRM tools. So if you haven't got CRM, SAP Business One is great. It will take you to that next level on CRM and managing your client relationships with both customers and suppliers alike. If you are a company more advanced and are already using a more detailed CRM solution, because plainly there are going to be better solutions for CRM out there that are dedicated, like Salesforce, like HubSpot, that's where we can integrate Business One with those and set the rules, and the data held in your CRM system is actually controlled by SAP. You always want the SAP Business One solution to control information around stock, items, customer records, finances, and feed that information out to other systems. But we can do this. We've done it many times. These are things we can do for you. So that's a good step forward. Opportunity management is there, so you can set up how you actually analyze opportunities from start to finish, from actual initial contact and inquiry through to closed, won or lost. And you set the stages and what percentage, so you can start running reports on what your pipeline's looking like, and how efficient you are, what your close rates are, all of that really valuable data that not every business has. That's part of SAP Business One as standard. So sales and purchasing, creating a quote. I'll show you how to do this. If I create a quote, so in I go, I'm going to choose Maxitech. So there we are, Maxitech, in they go. This time I'm going to choose an item. I'm going to sell an office printer. In it goes. Now, I will explain every single customer that you have on your system in SAP Business One. You can set what price groups they're in, what products they can be sold. You can also, if you are dealing with customers abroad, we have customers that actually work in, all sorts of different fields. We've got one customer that bizarrely sells shoes, and another part of their business, because it's a hobby, sells firearms. Now that plainly has much more control over serial tracking that's required, and also they're not allowed to sell those firearms to certain countries. So those sort of things we can set up. And so if Maxitech were the customer and they were in Palestine or Israel or something like that, then you may not be able to allow may not be allowed to sell certain items to those countries. So that would be automatically configured. So they wouldn't be allowed or even come up on the screen as potential sales to these customers. But in here, you can see that I've automatically got a price from a price group that's been set up for Maxitech. They've got no discount, although you can also have discount groups depending on how you work and how you work with certain customers, because it is individual to customer or groups of customers. And in here, you can go say, right, okay, well, I want to have 10 of these. In it goes, automatically, it adds them all up for you. If you've got freight, it can automatically add freight charges, especially now with Brexit. I will stress, Business One was months ahead of the game when it came to GDPR. It was months ahead of the game for making tax digital, and it's already got the Brexit GB localization built into this version of SAP Business One. Granted, we still don't all know what's going on with Brexit. We're still working it out. But the whole idea of changing your documents and things, as we are doing for our existing customers, is just something we're doing. And, you know, it's as the rules and as everything comes out in the wash, the point is that the localization prior to January the 1st this year was UK and Ireland. Plainly, we can't have Ireland anymore because that's part of the EU. So it's been separated, especially as some islands in the Mediterranean and also South Africa use the UK and Irish localization too. So it was important to split it just from a taxation perspective and reporting. But in it goes, so all of that can be done. It can be rounded up. You can actually put owners and sales employees. You can put remarks in. If I say that's a quote, I'm going to add it, add and view. And once that's saved, we can then convert that to a quotation. So on here, you can notice down here on the right, we've got copy to. So straight away, I can say, right, I want to copy that to a sales order. Yes, I do. So what it does is it links the two documents together. So straight away, you can see that this one is now based on sales quote 1300. And if I click add and view on that one, that's saying I've got a date missing. So I've got to put a delivery date. So that's a good check. In it goes, add and view that one. So once that sales order's on, I can now copy from a sales quote or blanket agreement. Is that saving it? Or... Yes, I do want to continue. Right, now it's worked. Copy to a delivery. So now it's going to create a delivery note for me. And again, it's linked to both the sales order, as you can see there, and to the sales quotation. So it's kept that. I'll click add and view. Click yes again. And I will then copy it to an invoice. I won't bother with a return today. But on the invoice itself, in there, I'll click add and view, add it in. Notice it's asking me questions saying you can't change this afterwards. You can't change it, but you can credit it and reissue it. So the reason it does that is because it logs who's logged in to SAP Business One and who is creating this transaction. And that's really important because it gives you a full audit of everything that's gone on. So if someone ever does anything dodgy or someone just makes a mistake, it's easily rectified and identified of how that's happened. Auditors love that. You know, so the days of auditors coming into a growing business and saying, right, okay, go and get me all the paperwork for all these transactions. You can say, well, you don't need it. Just go into the system and look at it. And it's all there. So straight away, I've now gone from quote to order to delivery to invoice. And if I right click on this last one and click relationship map, it graphically shows me a quote, which is linked to a sales order, linked to delivery, linked to invoice. Now, this could have been a quote that went to sales order, which then was then split into 4 deliveries and 4 invoices, and it would explode outwards. So you can see anything with a padlock shows it's closed, but we haven't been paid that invoice yet, so it's still unlocked and it has a red line underneath it. So that's a great graphical way of understanding where you are with that particular array of transactions. Very powerful, very well used, and people do like it. So sales and purchasing are very similar. Business partners we've touched on. Banking, you know, it's you can upload any bank statement from pretty much all the major banks now into Business One, and you can actually just set the rules. You can say what your thresholds are and say push it through if you wish to do so. The days of doing them all manually are limited. Now, granted, anyone who's using Xero, that's great, that system for doing that automatically, so you'll be used to that. But there are systems out there where people are still manually processing all the bank recs. And that is a pain. And, I was speaking to one of our new customers only yesterday. They are still doing that manually. It takes them 6 hours a week to do it, which you can work out as a lot of time wasted for that one individual. And it's very boring work. You won't want to do that. You want the system to do that for you. And it's a great example of why automation is a really useful feature here. We talked about stock control. Now, if I go into the item master data on a stock record, very similar look and feel to the business partner one, and that's deliberate. We want you to get used to these screens and how they work. So if I go into a stock record, let's choose something with some meaning. So yeah, here we go, an office printer. We all know what these look and feel like. So it's in an item group of printers. Its unit of measure group is manual, but you can set up as many units of measure as you wish. The price lists, again, there's a variety of different price lists that you can have. It's unlimited. It's up to you. You can say what unit price, what currency they work in. You can put barcodes in, that sort of thing. You can also say whether you stock them, whether you sell them, or whether you purchase them. You can also drop ship purchased items, so you don't actually have to ever physically see something. If you don't hold the stock of these, but you do sell them, you just order them from your supplier and send them direct to site of the customer. Your choice. But in here you can say, right, purchasing data, who our preferred supplier is, but you can have multiple suppliers. And the reason you have a preferred supplier is that when it comes to things like MRP, which stands for Materials Resource Planning, you can actually say, right, if I'm going to sell 1,000 of these items in the next month, that's what my forecast is. And based on current order bank and sales team's forecasts and history, if you want to, you can actually say, right, okay, well, to fulfill that, I need to buy this much to keep in stock. If I'm a manufacturer, I will have to say I have to make this many to fulfill those orders and that forecast, and so on. So that's where MRP comes in really useful. So notice you've got things like spaces for the manufacturer catalogs, numbers. So you can have your own coding, especially if you're dealing with a product that you're selling on that multiple people sell. It's great to have your own code against a manufacturer code, so people can't just then type that into Google and find it cheaper. So in here as well, we've got various measurements, factors, that sort of thing we want to record. We've got the sales data, unit measure names, and again, more detail we want to hold. Stock data. So this is a great example of this particular item can be held in any one of these multiple warehouses we have set up in our demonstration system. So in here we can see we've got 848 in stock in the general warehouse. We have 30 in the backup warehouse, giving us a total of 878. But we've got committed 1,148, but we have also got on order 739. So available are those titles there. So that's what would be visible to the sales team if you have such a thing. And you can also set minimum and maximum inventory levels. So it makes sense. If you've only got space for 10 of these printers in your warehouse, you don't want to be ordering 50. You've got nowhere to put them. So very simple control. Planning data, you can say whether it's something you manually work out or whether you use MRP to calculate what you need to order or what you need to make to fulfill the orders and forecasts. We've got production data. If you are a manufacturer or you're someone who kits things, small kitting of bought-in items, you can actually do things like backflush. So backflush is just a term. It's nothing to do with toilets. It basically means that if you've made a kit or you've made a product of this type, the system knows through bills of materials how much items are in each of those types of finished goods, and it will downgrade stock automatically by that amount. Some people like backflush. Some people have a lot of wastage in their processing, so they don't like backflush, and they will manually put in what they've actually used because some items are naturally wasting away as you're using it. So that's what you can do there. Properties and remarks is exactly as I said to you before, and attachments as well. So item master data on stock is really useful. You notice this was on the business partner record as well. UDF is exactly that. So if I show you UDFs, you can set up whatever user-defined fields you want. But because of Boyum B1 Up, the usability package, we can put these actually on the main screen. So I don't see as much need for that as other people. But things like analytics are quite useful if there was a dashboard relevant to what you're looking at. Likewise, if you're a telesales type operation, you can have telesales questions. So if they're interested in buying, or you can show them what they bought before. So you can actually say, well, last time you ordered this, do you want some of these? And you can just tick it and add as many as you want. So it's a very quick way of actually adding to an order as you're talking to them on the phone. So that's the sort of thing you can do. It's got a pick and pack module, so it helps in the warehouse for picking the right items and actually packing them all together with labeling. We can link to all your courier services, so whether you have your own vehicles or whether you use DPD or UPS or whoever you want to use, Royal Mail, we can link to their systems and create the labels and create that linkage again. So again, that can then link to e-commerce. So people using e-commerce, we've got people who are using Magento 2 websites, we've got people using WooCommerce, we've got people using pre-built SAP Business One solutions like Sana, or you know, a variety of things. There's just lots of options around e-commerce, and SAP Business One is absolutely in that world. And linking to a courier system, as I was saying, is that if you then ship your goods to a end user customer, they can actually go onto their account and actually see where those goods are, whether they're in transit, whether they're in a location of DPD, and so on. That's the sort of thing people are now demanding, because we've got used to it, especially during this pandemic, seeing as the whole world is ordering everything off Amazon constantly. We are getting used to it. And that's the sort of thing we can do with stock control and linking to your courier systems. Resources is just that. So a resource master data, a resource to SAP Business One can either be a person, as in labor, or it could be a machine on a shop floor or in a warehouse, or whatever you want it to be. It could be a van, it could be absolutely anything. So in here you can see we've got some examples. We've got someone who saws wood, we've got a junior production person, but if I carry on through, we've got quality control, we've got packers. But carry on through, yeah, we go, there we go, we've got some machines this time. And you can actually say, and work with that to actually build up what resources are needed to create a finished good, or a just basically what you're looking to make, whether it be a pack or whether it's a full manufactured piece of equipment. So on from there, production is creating your production orders, and it's telling you, because you can set up how many production runs you have and routings. MRP, as I say, is just as useful for forecasting for distribution businesses as it is for manufacturing, and it will give you through the MRP wizard will give you a recommendation on what to order, which is really powerful, because it's not going to just order them, it's going to give you, as the decision makers, the decision to make. Do I agree with this plan that the system is telling me, or do I know that last year was a freak year and we're never going to sell that many of those items again, so the historical view that we have of last year is null and void? And then you can tweak and change what you want to see. Servicing is just that. So, you know, we can set up service calls, we've got equipment cards, service contracts. If you are involved with service contracts at all, we can help you. We have an existing contract business in security and in cleaning who are actually using it with a mobile device. So cleaners and security guards can log in and do checks and update the main system with their mobile device on site. Really powerful, really simple, but again, they're referenceable if you're working in that field. Human resources is just that. So it allows you to actually record employee data, timesheets if you wish, and you can start, instead of having a filing cabinet, as most small businesses that are growing tend to do, you can actually now have it in system, and you can have reasons and renew appraisals and all sorts of things recorded in the system. And then last but not least on here, we do have the concept of project management in Business One. So you can have either internal or external projects. So if you are a project-based organization, you can start to set up budgets, you can start putting in real costs and start doing analysis of how you're doing against budget at various stages of a project. So very powerful, backed up with a full wealth of reports on all of the areas that we've talked about. But this is only the centerpiece, as I say. Depending on what sector you're in, we can then enhance this to work better and smarter in your sector. That's the power of what we have here. And then last but not least today, we touched on it, but I'm logged on currently here. If I make that the right size for this screen, I'm logged on now via a website, and so straight away I'm onto the same demo system, but we've got a different view, so we can create quotes, orders, check stock levels, look at sales analysis. So we've got different charts and graphs, and because this is pure website, even though our cloud version of SAP Business One will work on any device, this naturally does because it's a web client. So straight away you can see sales amounts, profits, sales amounts by quarter, top items sold, and so on. This is going to expand because version 10 was a complete rewrite of SAP Business One by SAP, so they can develop this web client. So the sales analysis and the sales side of things is the first element that has moved into this web client. What we also have coming up in the future in the roadmap is for working for purchasing, for stock control, for finance, and it will just roll out this way. So this will be the standard way of actually getting into the system if you choose to use that web client. So from today, we're more than happy to answer any questions anyone has. If anyone wants to flag, if you can see on your menu there, you do have the ability to just go into chat or ask a question. I see no one has at this stage. Alternatively, we are more than happy to speak to you all individually and confidentially afterwards, and just to see if this suits you as a business. If it doesn't, we'll tell you. That's the relationship we want with our clients. We want a working relationship which is built on trust, and that differentiates Ascarii from many people out there because we're a friendly bunch. We do like helping our customers, but we don't oversell. We only provide you with what you actually need and what you want, but also we'll still make you aware of what's available in the future, so you can then make a decision whether your business has changed or whether you need to make an adjustment to the solution to help you as your business diversifies and moves forward. So I will thank you for your time today. I will close today's meeting. This recording will be going on social media, but also we will send you a copy of it if you wish. And please get in touch with us, and we will be very happy to help you further. Thanks very much for attending. I'll speak to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.